Hey, it's me, Rod Morgan, a longtime listener and semi-professional host of the Morgan You Know podcast, a pop culture, sometimes music, sometimes movies, sometimes TV podcast, always entertaining podcast on the Morgan You Know podcast network. Listen to us wherever you get your podcast. That's an awful lot of podcasts. That's the Morgan You Know podcast.
Hello, Internet. The Morgan You Know podcast network presents Balls and Brew.
Welcome to another edition of the Flagship Sports Podcast here on the Morgan You Know Podcasting Network. I am your host, Rod Morgan. Joining me is the producer of this podcast, the producer of Yeah We Know, In the Ring with Jimmy and Rod, the producer of the sometimes pop culture podcast, the Morgan You Know. It's Jimmy. Jam Riska. James, hello.
It's week 14, and we have a podcast called The Morgan You Know?
We do, and it will be coming back this year. It will be coming back. It will be coming back right around Festivus time. That may or may not be a hint. It will be coming back right around Festivus time. Look forward to that. But as always on this podcast, you are looking forward to our football handicappers' expertise. He's got referee stats. He's got road stats. He's got underdog stats. He's got all the stats. He's Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
Oh, yeah, baby. It's a Festivus for the rest of us. How we doing, boys?
Oh, we are excited. You are still above 500 this year. You have been above 500 all year long. You are at 20-17-2. But I understand that you think last week has a nomination for possibly beat of the year. Explain to us why you feel that way.
Yeah, man. Oh, God. We had the Jets +3 last week against the Vikings. The Vikings are now 9-0 in one-score games. We'll get to more of that later. But listen to where the Jets had the ball in this game. First down at the Minnesota 21, first down at the Minnesota 6, first down at the Minnesota 11, and second down from the Minnesota 1. Those drives resulted in either 0 points or 3 points for the Jets. The Jets outgained the Vikings by 200 yards. Not only should they have covered that game, they should have won outright. Absolutely brutal that the Jets can't get in the end zone from second and 1. Yeah, that one was tough to take there.
So how does a game like that fit into those luck stats that you like to talk to us so much about? Who gets the positive luck stat there? Who does it hurt their luck stats? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, we'll get into more of that later because we're going. We've got the Vikings and Detroit as one of the picks here, and
okay,
yeah.
Nice. All right, I do see that now. I wasn't looking ahead enough. You do have the Vikings, so we can talk more about them later. And voice that you normally hear at the top that I introduce is our guy in North Carolina, Chris King. We understand that he may be joining us here at some point, so we will let him weigh in with his three things when he comes triumphantly onto the podcast. But for right now, we will start with our producer. We mentioned the Yeah We Know podcast. It's all about wrestling, so we keep that brand loyalty all the time. Jimmy, give us your face of the week, if you would, please, sir.
The face of the week has to be the GOAT of all time. Tom Brady makes an appearance on the face list. Listen, we all went to bed. Don't lie. The game was over. Like, it was over. I still don't know how the Bucs won. Oh, yeah, I do. They have Tom Brady. He ended up throwing a couple of touchdowns, just one interception. But it was all that last drive. Unbelievable. He's the GOAT of best of all time.
Listen, Williams is going to have some great stats about how Brady's actually playing this year and things on the game, so we'll let him do that in a second. But I'm just going to wax philosophically as the crazy fan here. All right, Tom Brady spent most of his career just absolutely wiping the floor with my guy 18 down there in Indianapolis, so I absolutely despised Tom Brady for all of his career, much the same way that I did not like Kobe Bryant. But in the last couple of years of Kobe's career, I just begrudgingly got this huge amount of respect for the guy that just like, man, all right, I just respect how you've always gone about your business. You've done the work. You're an absolute cutthroat competitor. And I respect Tom Brady to no end. And the fact that he can still get it done on certain drives at 45 years old, Mr. Williams, I have a newfound respect for the GOAT, Tom Brady.
Yeah, that was pretty unbelievable. The 44th comeback, I think, overtaking Peyton there. In the fourth quarter OT.
And why do you got to do that? Why do you got to do that to me? You didn't have to do that to me.
Peyton's still one of the greatest of all time, man. But Jimmy's right, man. That game was over. Mark Ingram doesn't go out of bounds on 2nd and 1 on the little swing pass out there in the flat. I don't know what he was doing. He could have picked up like 3 more yards. That would have took two more minutes off the clock there. Brady wouldn't have had the time to go all the way down. But I mean, what Brady's doing is unbelievable because that offensive line, he knows he has to get the ball out so quick. Donovan Smith is basically holding on every play. I mean, yeah, the refs could really throw a flag on every play, and they did on the touchdown. And Brady had that look on his face like, oh, my God. Then the very next play, he got it to Rashard White with 3 seconds left for the touchdown, for the game-winning touchdown by 1 point. Man, Dennis Allen totally whiffed on the last 5 minutes. What a terrible head coaching job by him, by the Saints. Bowles and Leftwich, again, not much better, man. Leftwich keeps on running on first downs, putting Brady in bad positions. He's trying, man. And he's got a tough game next week against San Francisco. And you know, now that Jimmy G with the broken ankle, that there's all kinds of QB, uneasiness in San Francisco. You know that Brady wants to play well this game because I still think Brady wants to end up in San Francisco next year for the Hollywood ending for his career. You know this game means a lot to Brady. I just don't know if they have the weapons to beat San Francisco in that defense this week, but that should be a great game.
Jimmy, one more thing on Brady, and I'm coming to you on this because I know you're a Simmons acolyte like me. So when Simmons dropped on his pod with Schrager a week or so back, where he thinks Brady might come back with New England next year, what did you think when you heard that?
He knows something. It would be kind of like a storybook ending, like Williams was saying. They went their separate ways. Brady did get the better end of the deal. He's won a championship. Belichick hasn't. The Patriots are in complete disarray, and Chris will talk about that here hopefully when he gets on. But I think that is a very viable option, or he would not have said that.
See, and if he goes and does that, then it's going to be like he's going to heel turn on me again. If he goes back to New England, I feel like, Jim, right? Like he's face turned on me now, right? This is Hogan putting back on the yellow tank top, right? And then this is if he just goes back to being Hollywood Hogan one last time before he finally does retire.
So the culture at home hosting the opener next year. And all of a sudden, Tom Brady's music hits, and he comes out and he goes against. That would be right up your alley there, bud.
Oh man, you know what? If they do that, that would be absolutely awesome. I think the only appearance of somebody's theme music that would make me pop harder would be Charlotte Flair's theme music. But that's a discussion for the Yeah We Know in the Winning podcast. Hey Jimmy, let's talk about your heel, Deshaun Watson. I mean,
yeah,
I think you frame it for us here.
Yeah, so back-to-back heels of the week for Deshaun Watson. Last week was Deshaun Watson more of the person than anything else, but this week it's actually the player. Now he has not been in the league for 2 years. He has not played at all, and it showed. It showed a lot. He had 131 yards passing with an interception. That's being generous. His quarterback rating was 54, which is abysmal. But yet, and I feel sorry. And Williams, I feel sorry for you if you are intelligent and bet against the Browns because you knew how bad he was going to be. The Browns still won. I don't understand how that happened.
Yeah, that's why I stayed away from that game. That game had a lot of variance involved in it. I didn't think the Browns offense was going to do all that much. They really didn't. They scored 6 points, but somehow the Browns defense and special teams scored 3 touchdowns. That's how bad of just this Texans team. This Texans team is just a bunch of zombies out there, it seems like. But yeah, that was a pretty bad beat there by anybody who had Houston.
All right, watch what I do here. I'm going to seamlessly bring in our guy from North Carolina, Chris King. Chris, hello.
What is up, guys?
Thank you for jumping on, man. Sorry you were running a little bit late, but we are happy to have you here. And Deshaun Watson put up a quarterbacking performance that made Cleveland Brown fans say to themselves, really, should we have gotten rid of Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield already got dumped by the Carolina Panthers, and the Carolina Panthers factor into Mr. Williams' first game this week. Do you like what I did there, Jimmy? How about that?
Great work, bud. Great work.
Williams, what do you got for us?
Yeah, the first game that I'm taking, I'm going to go with those Carolina Panthers. You can find them at plus 4.5 on DK. Look, the Panthers are a decent team with anybody but Baker at quarterback for them. Baker took a ton of sacks. The other QBs for Carolina this year have averaged over a net yard more per attempt than Baker was averaging. And I think the D is going to get healthy here off the bye, longer time to prepare here. nobody has talked about how dominant J.C. Horn has been at corner for Carolina. But out of the 361 coverage snaps, he
I
is
was just texting Jimmy the other day saying, my God, this JC Horn, people aren't talking about him enough.
J.C. Horn, man. He's had 361 coverage snaps. He's only allowed 138 receiving yards all year. No touchdowns and a couple picks. Really, that is amazing, man. Seahawks down their top 3 or 4 running backs here. Walker's banged up. DJ Dallas banged up. We know Penny's out for the year. Travis Homer is playing hurt. So Seattle's only averaging 64 yards rushing over their last 3. You know that's their big game plan almost every week. And guess what? They haven't covered any of those games. Now they're coming off an emotional win over the Rams. I mean, I don't know if probably nobody watched that game because there was like 2 really other good games on late yesterday or last week. But Bobby Wagner and Jalen Ramsey for the Rams, those guys were almost in tears in the second half, yelling and screaming at their teammates and at the Seahawks. Both teams talking mad smack that whole game. That was a way more emotional game than most would have guessed. Looked very, very tough, efficient week this week in week 14. So it's tough to find some lines here that I like, but I'll take the Panthers here, getting 4.5 off the bye, facing a banged up team off their own emotional come from behind last minute win here. I'll take Panthers plus 4.5.
Chris, your guy Geno Smith, who was one of your things 1 week, he's kind of fallen back to earth a little bit there. Does it make you sad? Do you shed a tear for the Seahawks?
No, I still think they're in the playoff hunt. I don't believe in Carolina. I know they've been playing a little bit better lately, but here's 2 quick numbers for you. 19 and 22. 19 points is how many the Carolina Panthers average per game scoring, and they give up on average 22. I mean, maybe they keep this a close game, but I see it being a touchdown or more for a win in Seattle, no less. This is Carolina on the road in Seattle.
Yeah, you got the 12th man at play there in Seattle all the time. Jimmy, let's go. Let's touch on something, a name that was brought up there. Baker Mayfield. Are you like me and you're like Rams, cowards, play Baker Mayfield? Do you want to see Baker back on the field like I do?
Yeah, I do. Why not? There's nothing that you can lose. The Rams are playing as we're speaking, and Baker Mayfield is as well. So, yeah, might as well try him out for the rest of the season because you never know what's going to happen.
He's
with
out
Stafford.
there? I don't even have the game on. He's out there already? The Rams aren't cowards. That's phenomenal news.
They are not cowards. And no spoilers for Williams. They are not cowards. That's all I'll say.
That is phenomenal that Baker is out there on the field again. Listen, man, what if Baker just has the big FU tour, just the big middle finger to everybody here in these last couple of games for the Rams? That would be phenomenal.
Remember,
isn't that
he's
what
still
we
Baker
want?
Mayfield.
but as Americans, isn't that what we love?
Absolutely.
We love that story.
Bring him to Indy.
We like the guy. He's the number 1 pick. We like to build him up, and then we want to tear him down because he had troubles in Cleveland and hit rock bottom in Carolina, and now we want to see how he redeems himself and come back and just, like you said, give a big FU to everybody.
Listen, bring him to Indy. It's cold in Indy most of the time. There's not really a whole lot of stuff to do. He can play video games all he wants. Bring him to Indy, man. It's cool. I'm fine with it. He's got to be better than the carcass of Matt Ryan and singing Sam Ellinger. I mean, goodness gracious. I love that Baker's on the field. I might have to call this podcast early so I can watch more Baker playing in the second half. Chris, you're coming in hot. You have a take on the Pro Bowl that I just absolutely have to get out to the people. Why don't you give us one of your things here before we move on to Williams' next game?
I know that I'm actually excited for the Pro Bowl, and I guess now it's the Pro Bowl week, but this is the first time in a long, long time that I've actually been interested in what happens during the Pro Bowl. And now we get the Sheriff and his brother Eli taking on the AFC and NFC teams. It's a whole week of skill competitions with 3 different flag football games. Like, this should just be entertainment gold for a week for the NFL.
So, I mean, are you looking for like MTV Rock and Jock Beach flag football vibes here? Is that what you're looking for?
I'm not looking for that, but I think that's probably what we'll get. I'm definitely more interested in the skills competitions as well as just seeing Peyton succeed at whatever he does.
Jimmy, what skills competition would you pay to see offensive linemen do?
Belly flop competition. That's what I'd like to see him do. Yeah, we're going to do that skill. You're going to run with the ball, jump off a diving board into the pool. Hey, if we're going to do this, let's do it right, guys. Come on. I know that's not what you wanted, but that's what I want to see.
Listen, I like it. Entertainment is what we're going here. Williams, you get to name any skills challenge, and it happens at the skills challenge. What would you name?
I'd probably like to bring back the old quarterback skills. Those the huge moving targets, man. That was fun watching those guys back in the day. And you,
Yeah, that 30-minute thing that would run on ESPN. That thing was
yeah,
great.
yeah. And you had some random guys who overachieved from what you thought, and
Trent
yeah,
Dilfer was in that thing like 4 times.
yeah, that was always fun to watch. I'd bring that back. I'm sure Eli
What
and
we need.
yeah, I'm sure Eli and Peyton will have all kinds of good ideas for that. That is going to be fun to look forward to for once for the Pro Bowl.
We need to bring back the competition and the skills competitions that they used in Battle of the Network Stars. I know I'm dating myself. I know it's been a long time since those, but like those were the real competition. Let's bring those back and put them into the Pro Bowl. Let me see some of these. We can see these offense and defensive lines go at each other in a tug of war contest, that type of stuff.
No, you're not dating yourself that much. They did a reboot of it recently with my guy Joe Tessitore and your guy Greeny. They did it for like a 1 year. They just the level of
I
stars they
don't
got
count that.
were real weak. It was real bad.
Give me the old school, like the back in the Mark Harmon days, when he's fresh out of college.
Nice. Look at you, Mark Harmon. Look at you, little heartthrob action. You and Mark Harmon, you guys had some days carousing. I know you did, but we can't tell those stories on this podcast. We're going to move on to Williams' second game of this week. The game is what, Mr. Williams?
Yeah, Detroit, Minnesota. I have a ton here.
Lions. Let's go, Lions. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be circling back a little bit later here. But yeah, I'm going to take Detroit -1.5. You can find that -110 on MGM. Cousins hasn't been great versus man this year. And Detroit is going to blitz. Cousins' PFF grade ranks 34th out of 38 qualified quarterbacks against the blitz this year. And Detroit can match Minnesota with offensive firepower. DeAndre Swift's finally healthy. He had 18 touches last week. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown healthy. You got DJ Chark healthy. You've got Jamison Williams now coming into the fold. And he was the number 1 rated wide receiver in the draft before his injury in the national championship game last year. And the Lions have reached the red zone at the second highest rate in the entire league. They're first in red zone efficiency. Imagine that. We coming into this year saying that the Lions are first in red zone efficiency. Man, they're fourth in the NFL in points per drive. Only the Chiefs and Eagles have a higher rate of drives that resulted in touchdowns. And check this out. The Vikings D is last in the NFL in yards per play. That's right. They're last in the NFL in drives to force a punt. They're last in the NFL in drives that don't get a first down or touchdown. The Vikings are 23rd in pressure rate. We know Goff struggles when pressured. He only has a 61 passer rating when pressured, but it goes up to 109 when the pocket is kept clean. Detroit is at home here. We said it last week. They average over 30 points per game at home. The point differential at home is +4. The point differential on the road is -7. So they're a completely different team at home. And the Lions blew this game earlier in the year. They were up 24-10. They tried a 55-yard field goal late, giving Minnesota a short field on their last possession to take it from a one-possession game to a one-possession game. Oh, boy, Dan Campbell. I love Dan Campbell's speeches, but some of his in-game decision-making, not the greatest. Vikings 31st in net yards per play. Vikings 20th in overall DVOA. Lions are 13th in overall DVOA. We said it last week, how the Jets were better on offense, defense, and special teams in DVOA. That's the same thing with the Lions here. Lions better on offense and defense and special teams in DVOA than the Vikings. I've got more stuff. I'll let you guys chime in here.
Jimmy, award-winning host of the Fast Break podcast, coming up here after we finish wrapping up NFL. Kirk Cousins is the Rudy Gobert of the NFL.
Yes, 100%. No one likes it. No. Yeah, he can do enough to be a star, but he's not going to win you the big game. And he gets a little scared. I'm not going to lie. The hands kind of start shaking a little bit. So he is the Rudy Gobert. They're not going to win. Everyone knows they're not winning their first playoff game, no matter how well they do during the season. So very good call on that.
Williams, let's get down to brass tacks here. All right. Do the Lions still have a chance to make the playoffs?
Oh, yeah. I believe they do. Um, eh, I mean, their offense is really clicking right now, and they've got some winnable games here late. But if we're going back to like the how the Vikings have been extremely lucky this year, and I know I picked them before the season to win the Super Bowl. They're actually playing worse than I thought they would be. I know they're 10-2, but let me just give you a breakdown real quick. If you switch the records in one score games this year, the Vikings would be 1-11. If you did the same for the Lions, they would be 8-4. So the sharp money really doesn't care about records. They don't care that a team is 10-2, a la the Vikings, and that they're playing an opponent that is 5-7, a la the Lions. They look much deeper than that. That's why you've seen the opening line here go from Minnesota -1 to now some places it's Detroit -2.5. I found -1.5 on MGM. So a little history lesson here. The last time you had a team with a winning percentage of over 80% be an underdog when facing a team under 500, you have to go all the way back to 2004 when the Michael Vick Falcons, they were 9-2, they faced the 4-7 Bucks. The Bucks were favored in that game. The end result in that game, the Bucks won 27-0. So sometimes, most of the time, Vegas just knows, man. They just know. Give me Detroit -1.5 on MGM.
There we go. That's a lot of stuff there, Chris. I know you're not a huge fan of the Vikings, but I know you, being the empathetic soul that you are, you want the Lions too to make the playoffs, so I can cash that bet, correct?
Yeah, I definitely do. If they make the playoffs, chances are that knocks out either the Giants or the Commanders. And like they're really just 2 games out. And if they are able to win out, that gives them 10 wins. That definitely puts them in the playoffs. Because right now, Giants and Seahawks are the last 2 teams. And then Washington's right there, essentially tied with Seattle. And then right behind them, you got the Detroit Lions, and they are playing better than all those teams.
The fighting Detroit Lions. I love it. Hope is alive in the Motor City. All right, Chris, you had another take that just is phenomenally terrible. I'm sorry that I'm coloring it that way, but I am open. As you know, you have blown my mind a time or two before, so I'm ready to allow your take here, but I just already the premise I'm questioning.
Is it the one where I know Bill Belichick has lost control of that team?
That's the one.
Yeah, he has. Why in the world are you going to come out and like I'll give Belichick some credit. He's usually good with the media and says and the right things to keep people guessing or not know necessarily or think that he is a master genius or anything like that. But you come out and say that it's just too hard to change up the offense in the middle of the season. That is just such a cop out. That just shows me that he has absolutely no faith in getting anything done with that anemic vanilla offense that they have in New England right now. Um, he's still allowing Patricia to call plays for some reason, even though it's not working. And all he has to do is say, we just have to do what we're doing better. Like, that's just like he seems to have no control. Like, I don't think 10 years ago, if this was going on, whoever was calling plays would still be calling plays.
I mean, does a resume mean anything? Like, I don't want to dispute any of the claims that you're making about what is currently going on, but does a resume mean anything? Because I think what Bill Belichick's resume would speak to is he has the ability to know that, yes, these guys, if they do what I'm telling them to do, will be all right. Because, I mean, he's got a lot of rings he can throw up on the table when he's talking to you.
I mean, I don't know if Belichick has ever really had a hand in the offense at all throughout this whole tenure in New England. He's had phenomenal Hall of Fame type offensive coordinators. They may not do so well as head coaches, but as offensive coordinators, they've been fantastic. And you hear some of these foreign players talking about, when McDaniels was there, they were better prepared than they had ever been for any other game when he's doing the prep work and setting up the game plan. And that's not happening now. And that just tells me that Belichick's not doing it, and neither is anybody else they have in that organization. So either A, Belichick has lost control and doesn't know how to get it back, or B, they aren't allowed to videotape everybody anymore, so they're not as well prepared as they used to be. And then that just goes right back into Belichick's not the greatest.
Wow. All right, JJ, you're a tad more level-headed than me. I have trouble swallowing this take. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
I think Belichick is technically the greatest of all time. I love how Chris is like, I want to give Belichick a little credit. Thank you, Chris. Bill Belichick really appreciates that little credit you gave him. But I do agree that you've got to make adjustments. I mean, changing the offense, that's what you do, really drive to drive, let alone throughout the season. So while he hasn't lost control of the team, I'm not sure what's going on. He should not have Matt Patricia being the offensive coordinator for one huge reason. Matt Patricia doesn't know offense, and he doesn't know how to maximize the players that he has to their skill sets. And you see that a lot with teams where this is the offense we're going to run no matter who we have behind the ball or running the ball or whatever. They do need to make those adjustments. So there, Chris, I'm giving you credit on that one. But, I mean, come on. He's had a bad season. It's okay.
Williams, you're our guy who tends to be tougher on coaches than anybody here. That kind of factors into some of your research. What are your thoughts on this? We'll give you the final word here, and then we'll move on.
I mean, remember what Belichick did last year. That last year's team was terrible, and he took that team to the playoffs. So I know Chris doesn't want to say that he's the GOAT. Maybe Joe Gibbs, but the argument against Joe Gibbs is, remember, Joe Gibbs came back. He came back to the NFL and was totally lost, man. And it was kind of sad because I love Joe Gibbs. He was a great coach. Won a Super Bowl with three coaches or three different quarterbacks. Belichick's been doing this for 40 years, man, and he really hasn't lost anything. Chris could say he lost something this year, but this team's just not that talented. And yeah, you can give him flack for having Patricia at OC. Fine, okay, but I mean, this team's just not that talented. So, and they're still in the playoff hunt. They're probably not going to make it, but I still think he's the greatest of all time. But yeah, it's just my opinion.
Hey, listen, you're our football handicapper. I'd like to think that your opinion carries a little bit of weight around here to the tune of 2017-2. All right. So to that end, let's get your final pick of the week here.
Yeah, so we're going with somewhat Chris's team here. We're not. I can't lay 18 here with the Cowboys because that's just too much. But I'm not insane and going to take the Texans either. So we're pivoting here. We're actually going to go a prop, and this prop is actually not even posted yet, but it will be. I'm going to take Tony Pollard longest run of the day. It's going to either be like 18.5 or 19.5. And Pollard leads all running backs with over 10% of his carries going for at least 15 yards. When he's given at least 3 yards before contact, 31% of his runs go for at least 15 yards. And the Texans are allowing 3 or more yards before contact on 29% of running back carries outside the 10-yard line. That's the third highest rate in the league. And both Zeke and Pollard had a 20-yard run last week versus Indy. So if you wanted to take Zeke here also, I don't hate that either. Zeke's prop will probably be around 14.5, 15.5, maybe 16.5 yards.
Yeah, no, listen, who else do you want to take? Well, as long as you're making up bets, Mr. Williams. I mean, goodness gracious, you're going to have to pause here for a second. Jimmy, I'm going to need a ruling here, okay? When we were going over our thoughts for Williams' picks here, did we have a clause that I'm unaware of where he was just allowed to call his own, he could just make his own bets up? Is that a thing we allowed him to do?
Well, now he did sign with FanDuel, right? So he can do this, right? That's what's going on, Williams?
You could probably find.
No, you didn't.
You could probably find this anywhere. Remember, we did this last year. The last week of the year, we took a Justin Jefferson receiving prop, and I said no matter what it is, I guessed it would be right around 74. It was right around there. I said whatever it is, take the over, because he had to reach something to get an incentive on his contract. He crushed that. He got that in like the middle of the third quarter.
You covered yourself. What if they post the longest run at Tony Pollard's longest run's 45 yards? Are you saying he's going to go over that?
No, they won't do that. So I've been looking.
He knows them. Okay.
Yeah. Over the last month, they have to protect themselves too. Over the last month, it's been right around 17.5, 18.5, 19.5. It won't be any higher than 19.5. And so, yeah.
You would still take it over 19.5.
Yeah, I'd still take it over 19.5. Look, like I said, Tony Pollard, maybe the most
No,
explosive.
you wowed everybody with those
Yeah.
running stats. I got it, but my premise was I believe you just made the bet up, but it sounds fine. And I mean, listen, I guess there's no reason to talk about this game any further if you're just making up prop bets at this point.
Trust
Except
me,
we'll go,
it will be around there. Like I've done enough like little prop betting where I know where the market's at. They're not going to set the line at like 27 or anything like that.
all right, Chris. I'll give you the choice here, Chris. Would you rather talk a second about your Dallas Cowboys, or do you, as well as us, think that game is not worthy of much talk, and you want to just move on to your final thing that you know? You get the choice here.
Houston's terrible. I hope we don't lose. We
Thank
can move
you.
on.
Good.
That's
What's
awesome,
the final
Chris.
thing
Thank
you know?
A lot this year. You hear this quarterback's name being brought up as one of the better in the leagues, and he throws for a lot of yards and blah blah blah. But I'm failing to see it. I am tired. I just know I'm tired of hearing about how good Justin Herbert is. I mean, and yes, he's thrown for a lot of yards. He's got 20 touchdowns to 9 turnovers or so. But you gotta win games, and I don't care who's necessarily hurt or injured. If you are going to be an elite quarterback, you have to lead an offense that can do something more than just beat the teams with losing records, because that's all they've done. They have not beaten a single team that has a winning record, and they only average 22 points a game. That's just not good enough. If you want to be an elite quarterback, you want to be talked about how good you are, win some games, put up some real stats. I'm tired of hearing about Justin Herbert.
That is a total old man take, and I'm absolutely golf clapping at it. I'm 100% with you. Justin Herbert gets lumped in as one of the best quarterbacks in the league all the time when you hear these guys just throwing out their quick lists, and I'm always just like, really? He's there already? I mean, I know some guys are getting older, and it's way apropos to put younger guys in your list, but Chris, I couldn't echo one of the things you know more than possibly this one. Even any other week we've had, this might be the one that I'm like, Chris, you're stone cold on, and I don't disagree with the second of it.
Yeah, tired of it because he doesn't. He
You were
puts
almost
up okay
speechless there. You were
stats,
almost
but they're
speechless there that I completely
I
agreed with you.
know,
You didn't even know what to
I know,
say.
I was because that's usually not what happens. But like, it's the truth. I don't see what everybody else seems to see. I just don't get it. Like every year we're like, okay, the Chargers have a good team. Herbert's a great quarterback, and then they do what they do this year. They're 6-6. They don't beat the teams that they need to beat. They only beat the teams that they should beat. Then they end up either squeaking into the playoffs, or more likely this year they're going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, the Chargers just tend to charge, and I call them San Diego all the time, and they play in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? So that'll tell you something about them right there. But let's wrap up football talk here and then get into the fast break. So the final thing that we get to when we're talking football is the oddest creation this side of any football podcast. It is my Tom Cruise game of the week. It's where I pick one game before it happens, and I try to say that game will be an absolute blockbuster, must-see game like any Tom Cruise movie is. But then we grade it on a scale of a Tom Cruise movie based on how good, by my arbitrary scale, it is. Now, what I'm going to say on this one is our producer, Jimmy Jamariska, convinced me that this is the one it has to be, but I would willing to say that's kind of on a technicality here. So last week, the game was, of course, the San Francisco 49ers, the fighting Shanahans versus the Miami Dolphins and the fighting McDaniels. Williams was all fired up for it. We were all fired up for it. We thought it'd be a great game. And then Jimmy Garoppolo, Subway pitchman himself, male model looking, goes down with a busted ankle. So that makes the game not blockbuster level. We can't give it one of the top grades, a Days of Thunder, a Top Gun. We can give it, though, Mission Impossible 6, which is a great movie, better than this game was. But Tom Cruise broke his ankle in Mission Impossible 6. And so, Jimmy, that is why I agree with you, and it is Mission Impossible 6. Your thoughts?
I think I made a great decision here. No, Mission Impossible 6, great movie, a lot of action, but it didn't give you everything you expected because of the ankle break. You had to stop everything. Tom Cruise had to rehab. He was out for a day or two with that broken ankle, and he was back, and everything was fine. But
6 hours.
yeah, It really was the story coming out of that movie, and the story coming out of this movie is Jimmy Garoppolo, or this game is Jimmy Garoppolo.
Williams, I know you had a big tub of popcorn. You were all lathered up and fired up to see that football game. You had to be bummed out when it ended up coming off a bit like a dud.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew that the Dolphins could be in for a long game without Teron Armstead, and then Jimmy G goes down, and so you're kind of thinking, whoa, it's kind of a plot twist here. But then that San Fran D stepped up and took it home. Like it's those two teams are definitely going to be fun to watch though in the playoffs. So yeah, it sucks for Jimmy G, man. It seems like a good dude. All his teammates love him, so we'll see where he ends up next year.
Well, I like that you said playoffs there, Mr. Williams. I'm giving you an assignment. I did this a little bit last year, and I haven't done it any this year. Next week, I want you to give your thoughts of who's going to be the playoff teams. All right. I want you to forecast a little bit ahead because I know that's a thing that you sort of do, and tell us who you see is in the playoffs next week. Will you be willing to do that for us?
Yeah. Preseason, I'm 4 for 4 right now for NFC division leaders. I'm way worse than that in the AFC, but yeah, I'll try to hit on all 14 next week.
There's a big NFC East showdown. We could do Eagles Giants. That one intrigues me a little bit. Let me look at the rest of the card here real quick. Nope, that's what we're doing. We're doing Eagles Giants, a battle for NFC East supremacy. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be in the trenches, and my guy Brian Daboll is going to rise the Giants from the ashes. Everybody's counting them out. Chris counted them out earlier. I'm sort of counting them out because the Lions can make me more money if they win the playoffs than the Giants can if they get in. But I'll still take the Giants in as a backup. So we're going with that.
It's time for the fastest 15 minutes in NBA podcasting. It's the Fast Break. Rod and Chris are here. Let's jump right into our team, the Sacramento Kings, who are in 5th place right now in the West, Rod. 6-4 in their last 10, still doing really good. Rod, how about our Kings?
Jimmy, it's getting serious. Okay, the other night, Mr. King and I were texting back and forth, and I, while texting with Chris, was looking on the internet for Light the Beam t-shirts and came this close to buying myself one. Meanwhile, Chris, you were looking
Beautiful.
up what on the other end?
I was looking up actual beams to use so we could shine them up in the sky at our respective cities in solidarity with our brothers.
Well, I don't know
Sacramento.
about you guys, but my Christmas lights are purple and silver this year, so I'm all about the Kings. They've done a great job. Let's talk about our boy Keegan Murray real quick. Past 4 games, he is lighting it up. Double digits in all those games. A lot of rebounds, assists, steals. He's playing up to what we thought he would be this year as a Rookie of the Year contender. He is doing great. Malik Monk is doing great. Rod, who's your favorite King?
You know who my favorite King is? Actually, this is such a terrible answer, but my favorite King right now is Mike Brown. All right, that's who my favorite King is right now because I think that it's his presence and I've been around the league. I've been with LeBron James. I've sat on the bench in Golden State, right? I think all of these things are earning him respect, and this guy has the Kings playing unlike we've seen since Vlade Divac was wearing a Kings uniform. Jimmy, we haven't seen this kind of play out of the Sacramento Kings since Vlade Divac was wearing a Kings uniform. My favorite King right now is Mike Brown because he's the guy I got to give the credit to.
I'm so happy you said that because he's been an NBA lifer, hasn't had the best luck overall as far as his yeah, he's had some okay seasons here and there. Obviously, he had some run with LeBron, but I just think it's good to see him come out and have one more really good last run that could last a while, actually, Chris, don't you think?
Yeah, it's built for the long term.
So the Kings are amazing. We're going to go to a team that's pretty close, though, for my face of the week. I can't believe I'm saying this. I had to get it in. Anthony Davis is my face of the week. He has had an amazing, actually about a 2-week time frame now, where he has just taken over. Yeah, he's sick right now with some illness that we don't know about. Shocking, Anthony Davis is out. But he has done a great job for the past couple of weeks here. Lakers are 6-4 in their last 10, and they're 10-14 overall. They're only a couple games out of being in that 7th, 8th spot. Gentlemen, my face of the week, I can't believe I'm saying this, is Anthony Davis. Chris King, Talk me down, please.
I can't. I've been loving and you can tell he's really just. It's almost like he started to believe in his old self again. I mean, these are the kind of stats that he got back when he was in New Orleans when he first came into the league, just dominating on the defensive end of the floor, getting all the rebounds. What did he have? 55 and 17 the other night. He had one.
Yes, 55 and 17.
He had a game against Phoenix a week or two ago where he had like 37 and 21. I mean, he is just playing the dominant self, and he's playing through being hurt. He's not necessarily injured, but he's playing through pain. It's what fans have wanted from him for the past 3 years, and they haven't seemed to be able to get. That's what they're getting now. And as an owner of him on my fantasy team, I could not be happier.
It's always got to come back to fantasy.
It has to go to fantasy, of course. Rod, let's talk about it here. Use your crystal ball. Is this the Lakers team that we have now, or are they going to go back down to mediocrity? What do you think? It's all on Davis.
Allow me to be the bit of a wet blanket here, all right? Let me give Anthony Davis a bit of his flowers and say that the only thing in that stretch that really impressed me, 55 is 55, but let's not forget Devin Booker had a 60-point game when he was like the second year. And there's some high-scoring games by some people that don't matter. The 44, though, versus Giannis, okay, when the Lakers went up into Milwaukee, when Milwaukee had their guys, and that game was played with big-time intensity, and the Lakers pulled that game out, that game has me reassessing a little bit. But I think the Lakers are going to fall back a tad, all right? They're going to continue this tough road streak. They got to play some tough games right around Christmas. I think it's going to be up to the Lakers front office to determine how far this run goes, right? If they want to trade some of their picks in the future finally and bring some stuff to help bolster this team, then I think that they're going to make a solid run at maybe being a 6 seed and not even be in the play-in. But if they want to hold their powder, I think this team might fold back, and then it's at risk of not making the playoffs. That's my prediction for the Lakers, Jimmy. A bit long-winded, but that's what I got for you.
Okay. Speaking about teams that may or may not make the playoffs, I want to talk about the Dallas Mavericks here for a second. Dallas Mavericks right now, Jason Kidd is my heel of the week, and I'm going to say why. He needs to take control. Luka is doing way too much. He's going to burn out. The Mavericks don't really have a second point guard. They don't really have much going on. I'm nervous about them. They should be better. I just don't think they're going anywhere. That's why he's my heel of the week. Chris King, talk to me.
I don't disagree with you, but it's hard for me to see him as a heel when didn't they just beat the Suns by 20? I mean, that's the top team that you need to go after essentially in the West right now. And they played tough defense but I do agree that there needs to be some help there for Luka from somebody somehow. And whether that's Kid revamping some stuff on offense and defense or them getting another couple guys in or making some trades, I don't know, but I'm worried too. But as a Mavericks fan, you should be happy. You aren't complaining this year about waiting for Luka to get into game shape. He came into the season
No, you're not.
pretty well into game shape, but this may, like you said, it may end up burning him out before the end of the season. And then what?
Well, they just signed Kemba Walker, so all their worries are over.
Rod, in all the games that they've played this year, how many games has Luka Doncic not been the high scorer?
I think it's only one, right? I think there's only been one time where he's been below 30 points.
It's actually there. It's been six times he hasn't been the highest score, but that just proves that he is going 100 miles an hour every single night. He's scoring, as you said, 30, 40, 30, 30, 27 points, I think is his lowest on this sheet. So we really need to. I'm worried about the Mavericks. I don't think it's sustainable, and that's why they're my heel of the week. It was a tough week to pick heels. There's a lot of good basketball played this week, and I'm a little nervous about them moving forward. Something I'm not nervous about is Rod's take on the Rod Damnation of the week.
We completely let them off the hook, and magically he has absolutely nothing to say. How could they possibly understand courtside Karen? I did not have any trouble getting together a little bit of vitriol for somebody this week, and we are going to go down to the dirty South. We are going to maybe anger one Ludacris and one Jermaine Dupri here, one Monica. I mean, I don't know, any of the other Atlanta luminaries are probably going to be mad at me here, but my Raw Damnation this week is directed at one Ice Trae Young. All right, you want to be the big bad superstar? You want to hit the big shots and shush the garden? That's all well and good, but you really actually haven't won anything. And every once in a while, to be the man on a team and to be the superstar that can actually lead your team to the promised land, you need to be willing to look in the mirror. And based on the stories that have trickled out of Atlanta recently and his press conference after those stories trickled out of Atlanta, I am awfully worried about one Trae Young's demeanor. Sure, you got to get some treatment before a game, but if your coach says you can just get the treatment out on the floor for shoot around and you say, nah, I'm good on that, coach. And then that coach says, okay, but you have a choice. Do you want to play in the game or do you want to come in off the bench? And you choose, nah, I'm just going to go home. That to me doesn't speak like a guy who's willing to die for this team. That to me doesn't speak like a guy who's willing to accept a secondary role occasionally to DeJounte Murray, who was just brought to this team specifically to help you because you stink on defense. But you got the owner's son in your back pocket. And it just seems to me, Trae, that you're a little more concerned with all the trappings of being an NBA superstar than you are with doing the hard work required to put your team on the level that would make you an NBA superstar.
Love it, Rod. I kind of thought that's where you were going with that, so I kind of stayed away from Trae. Murray's out for the next 2 weeks, so we're going to see what the team is made of now. It's going to be a difficult 2 weeks for them. Chris King, did you expect Trae Young to be maybe that next superstar who's got strife with his team?
I tell you what, like it wasn't not last season, the season before, that playoff run that Atlanta had, I really thought we were seeing something. Like he really showed a lot of grit and what I thought was heart, but I'm with you, Rod. I don't see this working out in his favor at all. And yeah, he's probably being treated like a god in Atlanta now. But if he doesn't turn this team around, especially with Murray in the backcourt with him, then that's going to stop. And he is not going to be able to turn this team around if this is the way he's acting. And I don't think it's necessarily Nate McMillan's fault. I think McMillan's a hell of a coach. I think he's got to have that attitude adjustment.
Yeah, there may be a time where we just have to, and even myself included, just you got to blame the players at some point. Say, hey, this is on you. You need to change. You need to adapt. If you want to win, if you want to be a teammate, a good teammate, you need to kind of sacrifice here and there for the betterment of the team. And people just don't understand that at all. So I think that's a good call on that as well. Chris King, last week on the Kings Hardwood Hierarchy, we had the Celtics the king, the Suns the queen, the Bucks the prince, and the Spurs are the jester. Let's go to this week's Kings Hardwood Hierarchy.
Well, I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again this week. I think I said it the week before last week. Celtics are the Kings. I don't see that changing anytime soon. They won 3 in a row. They're 8-2 over the last 10.
Wore out the Suns. They just wore the Suns out in the first half, man. That thing was over quick. I watched that game. I was all excited for it, and then I was like, man, I'm going to bed. I don't even have to watch the second half of this thing.
I mean, they are playing about as an efficient basketball as I've ever seen. So they're still the Kings.
You go back to Peach Basket, so you've seen a lot of basketball.
A lot.
And then I'm going to move the Bucks back up to Queen. They've been really good. They have a big matchup coming up this week with Dallas, I think tomorrow night. And I'm real interested to watch that game. 2 MVP candidates going head to head, so that'll be fun to watch. But they're still the best defense in the league. They're the Queen. I am putting someone new into this hierarchy here at the Prince level.
A new Prince was promised. Here we go.
And here
we go.
That is the New Orleans Pelicans.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
baby.
They've won 8 out of the last
Let's go.
10. They've won 5 in a row. They are playing tough, and I'm telling you, that is not a team I would want to play in the playoffs.
Jimmy, how legit is that team? How legit do you think that team really is? Because I'm excited by their play right now too, but are you that scared of them in the playoffs?
Yes, because first of all they have playoff depth, meaning you can go 8 or 9 deep, maybe even 10 deep in the regular season, but you need to have a solid 7 in the playoffs where you are just going at everybody. If they stay healthy, then I'm very excited. McCollum's not even having the best year right now, so he's still ramping up a little bit. I'm very excited about this team. Let's just stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right there. Trey Murphy's a guy who could play a lot of minutes for a lot of other teams.
Yep.
And he's like seventh, eighth man on this Pelicans team. So I mean, you got something there, but I think there's something to be said for playoff metal. Because Chris, I heard this question the other day on an NBA podcast, and I'm interested to hear your answer here. If I give you Jaylen Brown or Brandon Ingram, which player would you rather have for your team?
Jaylen Brown.
That was my answer too, and I thought you would because of defense. But Brandon Ingram is a heck of a shot maker, and he's a guy that's forgotten about in New Orleans.
Yeah, no, he is, and I did kind of want to talk to him, but you know me, I'm old school. Give me defense.
I figured that's the way you go. Jimmy, how about you?
Oh, I would. I like Ingram a lot, but there's no question. There's no question. You guys are right because you want to have. Jalen Brown's been in the wars, and he is
like
someone
playoff
who
games on his roster
yeah
already, man.
yeah, and they're still young, so you got to go with him. But Brandon Ingram, people who watch basketball, people who watch the Pelicans especially, know Brandon Ingram is. I mean, he's not the star. You got to give it to Zion, but Brandon Ingram is pretty darn good there for sure. Chris King, speaking of a team that's not good, who's your jester this week?
Look at you.
Yeah, it's the Spurs again. You can't just keep losing and expect to not still be the jester.
I was going to yell at you if you didn't pick them, so congratulations.
I mean, they're up to 11 in a row now, and I think of that 11, I looked at it, I think there's been 5 games, maybe even 6 games where they've allowed 130 points or more.
11 in a row, but they are winning right now. 109-91 in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes left. Who gets the calf strain? Who gets the calf strain for the Spurs to get them out of there?
Oh, gosh. I have no idea.
If the other team's got 91, Pirtle must be playing a hell of a defensive game, so he's probably going to come up lame.
Well, see, it's the Rockets, so the Rockets don't want to win either. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, the Rockets are mad right now.
Yeah, they should be mad. They've won 5 out of the last 10. That's some 500 ball. That's not like them.
That team still does not want to pass the ball, though. They are allergic to passing in Houston.
Is Romeo Langford limping? Oh, no, they have to take him out with a 12-point lead. Who knew?
Shocking that Romeo Langford
Anyway. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, well, that is going to do it for the fast break on this edition of Balls and Brew. Rod, anything before we head out?
I'm absolutely going to echo Chris's sentiments here again. I, too, am fired up for the Luka v. Giannis battle on ESPN television Friday night. So I will be tuning in for that, and then we might have a take or two about that game for you next week. So there you go.
Goodbye, Internet.